Alright, so it's another day. Got a old CA head in here, which actually I'm gonna replace all the seats on, all the guides, absolutely everything. I think this is a scrap head anyway, so I can cut these guides out, put some new seats in, and then recut them, check the levels. This is just a play head. I've messed about a fair bit. Obviously it's up on these blocks because it's it's not a flat head, so it's up on these V blocks. I haven't got the actual standoffs that came with the Serdi. I'm gonna hopefully pick them up from the guy that I bought it from fairly soon. He said he didn't have them and suddenly did have them, so there you go, there's that. I've got a pilot that fits real nice and tight inside, like it's really nice and tight. So obviously that is my setup, but let's get this pilot out. Put that back and just check what this pilot is. I don't know if I'm going to see this. I cannot see that. Oh gosh, there it is. Yeah, so I don't know if you'll be able to see that. Can you see that? That does say 6mm, so it's exactly 6mm. Yeah, that fits quite nicely. I don't think, I mean, I haven't actually measured the bore, and there is, could be tighter for sure. Let's just make sure the head is at the right angle. So obviously this, let me just take you out and show you. This is pissed anyway. So if I put this on there, it just wanders around the outside. So yeah, and then we just want to walk that around, make sure it is on the outside of that circle all the way. So we know the head's at the right angle, and then it's stuck again. Whatever that taper is, that is very, very good at the top. It's a very good taper, because that doesn't half get stuck. Right, so tool. So that's really nice. So if I put my finger over the end of that, I can feel that sucking and blowing on my finger. So that is a really, I mean, I don't know if you, but you can see, that's pretty cool. Like it just pumps back out. So it is a nice tight fit in there, which is always good. So we'll just do that up. Give that a nip. So there, I mean, the fact that there's a vacuum there and there's no grease on that whatsoever, hopefully shows that it's fairly decent, like clearance wise. So we'll just get the air on the machine. Not that. That's fine. So move the head across. I am going to do one of these ones because why not? We just got it started, and that is all that there is in it. And then I need to push that button in, so yeah, you can't really see, but I'm putting those two locks on, and we should be able to drive that down. Give that a little count. Release the sphere, release the head. In fact, I'm just going to check that, because did they say release the pedal, lock the sphere first, then the sphere cylinder. Yeah. So that's that done. So now I should be able to, nice and easy, see. I can feel a bit of resistance on that though. I mean, it's definitely. Oh, hang on. Ha. apparently that is it. Let's see if I can feel resistance on that this time. I can certainly feel a bit of resistance right at the top. Like, so as soon as it comes out of that pot, it does. Really hard to tell. But nonetheless, let's put a little bit of lube on that. I'm just going to put a little bit of anti-seize on there. Make sure that doesn't get stuck in there for any reason. You watch, break the first one. Yeah, seems alright. So we'll clockwise. Clockwise is actually anti-clockwise. Oh, there you go, I was going to say. So the speedo's wrong. Oh, speedo's not even working now. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, works anti-clockwise. Oh, now it works. Okay. Oh, so it doesn't want to speed up. That's interesting. Oh. So once you get down to a certain number, because I don't know how fast it's going, now it's speeding up and slowing down correctly. I'm just going to go down and touch on. Let's see if I can get you a better position. Obviously there's no dial indicator on this. Whoa. And obviously we also need to buy our lights, which I will go and get them. So it's not cut that back edge, it's only cut the front edge. And it's only cut it a fucking gnat's cock. And this is why you need an indicator on it. I've still not cut that back edge whatsoever. Which is interesting. I might just speed that up a little bit. Getting close. I mean, without an indicator, there is no way I can tell. That back side is just coming in. There you go. So that backside has only just come in. We'll actually float the head out and have a decent look at that, but let's do that. So there's no chatter there. It's actually a very nice cut. I'll give it that. The question is, can you blue that, put that back in that hole? Well, that's interesting. See, how far off was that? Because that has cut, looks like it's cut a very big seat on the back side, only just touched this front side. So we'll put the blue in and we'll see. Right, so I've blued that up, and the seat width this side is insane, and this side is very, very thin. So whether this guide is slightly too loose, I'm going to get the dia test gauge out and see what size this actually is. Yeah, so I'm going to just pop this in there and touch on and see if we can get the same seat cut this time. So let's just see how that goes. So I hope this picks this up, and in terms of repeatability, absolutely fucking zero currently. Although it did seem to sit in the guide a lot better this time. So I'm thinking that this guide isn't good enough, or sorry, this pilot is not good enough for this guide. Alright, we're back in with the Serdi. I've had a play this morning. Everything seems to be working okay. Well, I say that. Let me just take that back. But I've had a play, and so before I was just cutting this single one, zoom in, and it was cutting one-sided as we saw. Now I've gone through and I've cut basically all of them up to about here, and when I say cut them, just literally. So this one I've messed about a lot with. It was cutting this side only, then it started centered itself and cutting it. Now that originally was because the air pressure went down and the compressor wasn't on. So this whole mechanism wasn't actually floating very nicely because there wasn't enough air pressure. So I think it was only got down to about 5 bar, I think it was. So then I've gone along. Have I touched that one? Yeah, I've touched all of them. Basically, I've just been trying to sort out my sequence of events, which I'll go through in a second. But yeah, this one's interesting because I think the seat's actually sunk right down anyway. Obviously, this is just a 45 cutter, so no matter what, it's not going to put a 3-angle valve job on. And obviously now our seat is so freaking wide, it could be a boat. This one though, I've actually, I forgot to take that off. Interesting. Right, so there's a lot of little caveats. So it's working it out. So when I first touched on the seat, it was only cutting, this side, or sorry, this side, whatever, 3/4 around there, and missed this back section. Now I didn't have this attached. So this was, you know, sitting down there, i.e., can I move it without dropping it a million miles? Okay, that magnet's in the way. So yeah, that was just sitting down there, not doing anything. And it cut okay, like I say, it just cut this corner off. And the problem is, I don't know if it's cutting the corner off because it's misaligned slightly, as in all of this stuff isn't quite aligning where it should be, or whether it's, you know, just sometimes it's this side, sometimes it's that side. The pilot isn't 100% fit, and I'm struggling with the bore gauge and the DTI. It's not DTIs. The bore gauge that I've got and the micrometers. They're all coming up slightly differently, and that's the biggest issue. I mean, we're talking 3/4 tenths difference, but that all makes a difference, especially when you compound it over everything. But nonetheless, so unfortunately, I've realised my mistake now. Is that when I went in for a second cut, it cut this side quite heavy and left that side. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna blue it and do a cut. And now I've come in and I've cut this side and not that side. As you can see, it starts there, ends over here. Is there a little bit of chatter there? It doesn't sound chattery. So I don't know whether, yeah, I mean, it's a bit hard to tell. It does look a bit, doesn't with the naked eye, but on there it does. See on that right hand side of the seat there, it looks a bit wavy. Anyway, obviously the second time I did that cut though, I've got this, I had the weight of this on the spindle itself, so that is obviously going to push the cutter potentially that way, which actually should cut this side more. Interesting. But there you go. I mean, this still isn't 100% parallel when you put it anywhere and then just release it. This, well, I mean, when I say not 100% parallel, I put that on it, so, you know. So yeah, and then we're having problems with the power, so I'm not going to turn it on, but when you switch it on, I mean, this first of all, which is the lock, that doesn't actually truly lock it, it still turns, as in I can grab it with my hand. So obviously when you put this tool up there, that you need to be able to lock this this bottom piece here, well, that doesn't truly lock on there. So you press and hold that, it locks it, so you can do it up, but it doesn't truly lock. It sort of just pauses it and drags it. Now, I don't know if that's supposed to be like that or if it should lock it. I mean, it's, yeah. These are around the wrong way, so that's interesting. So this is actually, yeah, that way. That's a clockwise, anti-clockwise, even though the pictures say the other thing. But when you press it, it takes about 20 seconds to go from just holding speed to using the speed. But I'll quickly run through the procedure. So what it is, press the pedal, float the head in, then you come down on the valve, and then once you get it started, you should be able to just get it started, even if it's only a little bit. And then you release the sphere. So this is gimbaled then, this. And then you can slot it all the way down. Then you wait a few seconds, then you come off the foot pedal, then you put on this switch, and for me it's pushing it with a pilot, leaving this one on, and then you come off this one and then switch this one, as you'll see me do in a second. And then that should be it. But obviously where this is slightly out, this table, depending on how far back or forward it is, for some reason there's a fair bit of clearance under this side which is pulsing. Now that could be because this has got more lift than the other side, and maybe I need to, I don't know what these are, whether these are just taps in or whether they're actual valves that are allowing the air to go through. No idea, but either way, whatever one floats this main table, which I'm assuming is this big fat one, it's putting too much air here maybe, and then obviously it's pulsing and lifting. It needs to be slightly less so it lifts it, but without lifting it too much where it can escape air. That's what I'm thinking. Other than that, I mean, this thing just isn't flat anyway, not truly. And then I don't think anything else does it. This might do it. No, I don't think this does it anymore. I think I still need to play with all these valves. But I'll give you a little demo and we'll see. Right, so let's just put the air on and power on, and then let's get this up in the air. I'm not gonna cut a seat because I don't want to. I want to use the other ones at the minute as a real practice, but just going to clean the grease off of that and the rubbish. And I've realised as well, this is magnetically charged, so once I finally get one off of eBay, a demagnetizer, I'm going to demagnetise all that, because I don't want any of this holding on to any cuttings. So we will float it across. Let's just go back in this one. So this is just the foot pedal, and then I'll try and do the other side. Now the sphere is in the right place from the last one I did. So the very first one was quite hard to get it down, but the sphere is now held roughly in line with the what's his name, so I can actually drive this right the way down. But the first one I did, oh gosh, got stuck like right at the very top, and then I released that, and sure enough, it was floating all over the place. So it really does float a lot. So I take that down to the seat, and then I'm going to give the head a while. Now the problem is the head wants to float whatever direction, so that's a problem. But fortunately, release the head. Now I can release this small piece, which releases the floating sphere, or not release the sphere, it's the sphere holder. And then you can leave that for a moment, make sure that stops moving, and you come off that, because that's all it's all in the wrong place, and then hopefully you're on, and then I can then you spin that, and I can tell you now, it's all on this back side again. So it's all on this back side once again. So that's where it's going to cut first. So Yeah, I mean, I don't know why that is. It could be that they're all out. It could be the play in the guide. I mean, I just hand took that then, and I don't know. I mean, you probably can't see because it's on wide angle, but even just spinning that by hand. But all of this is magnetic, which is annoying as arse. So that is the procedure, but it's not 100%. And now we've got pulsing, so the head is. The main head, you probably can't hear it, but I know I've been over it before, but as you start to bring it out forward, it starts to pulse, which isn't a problem because you won't be running it there, like as in when the, well, I suppose actually when I do these guys, to be fair, I don't even think the head's far back enough. I'm going to have to slide that way anyway, but all the time I don't have this parts coming Monday, so now it's Saturday, so this just sinks on its own once it gets to a certain distance, which is highly annoying. So I'm just trying to bring that forward, and then it will just all on its own. Oh yeah, I didn't show you the, what's his name, let me just run that back in a seat, and I'll show you the motor, which is doing whatever. Obviously the guy, I know the guy's going to come down, so we'll get that right down there. Release the sphere. I'm not convinced that that is a good idea though, to have your foot in the pedal, but that's what the instructions say. And then release that. Sure enough, it moves. And so give it like a few seconds. I've heard people online say 6 seconds. Take that off, take that off. I'm just going to run that down and just see where it's cutting. Yeah, same place again. It's cutting like, if you imagine the valve, it's cutting from here to about here. It's missing this top right hand corner pretty much every time. But let me just show you the motor spinning up. So this is supposed to be about 700 RPM, and there is a fault code I think that comes up on the VFD, but it will just sit like this for a good while. And then she goes for it. And then once it's done that, and then you come back in, well, sometimes it doesn't work. Yeah, then it does it normally. But also, so the other thing is, so this lock button, I don't know if you can see me pressing it, but there's that lock button, and then that's supposed to stop that, and it's sort of, it's sort of pulsating back at me. But I don't know how tight that's got to be. I mean, I think it's an ISO 30 taper, and it seems pretty stiff, like, yeah, who knows. And then obviously you make sure you pull the pilot out before you push your foot on the pedal, because as soon as you push your foot on the pedal, this main sphere that holds the actual, so the main cylinder that holds the sphere, that will then re-centralise on, if you can see them, yeah, you can slightly, these cones which have got to be replaced at the back. Obviously they don't work so great at the minute, but they will work very well. And obviously if you do that with the pilot in there, once it's settled, then sure enough, it won't work, but, oh, sure enough, it'll break the shit out of everything. So yeah, that's just self-feeding as well, which is nice. So yeah, Monday, so a couple of days time, or Monday, Tuesday I reckon, all the parts will come out. I think they get them all in Monday, and then all the parts will come out Tuesday. I still haven't got any cutting tips. It's really odd. They've just got loads of really, maybe they're mainly for diesels and like American stuff, I don't know, but none of the seat profiles that the stuff's sort of modern-ish. When I say modern, I'm talking about from like this, 90s to now, basically. Like, so they don't have any seat profiles that would suit a CA18 DET. They're just wrong.
Most of them are like 30, 60, 45 seat, 60 at the bottom. Well, I suppose whichever way. It depends if the cylinder head's upside down or not. I don't know what people call them, but the top angle 30 degrees, seat 45, and the bottom into the throat would be 60. That's kind of what that's what everyone's selling you. But that's absolutely nothing like what, you know, a high performance modern engine. You're talking 35 on the top, 30 to 35 on the top, that's not bad. But then 45 seat, okay, fair enough. And then it's mainly the undercuts, like they're always 60, but really it would be more like 67 degrees to get into that angle. So you're between the seat and the throat. And then like a Honda seat, like an original Honda seat. And so the other seats that I've had cut are clearly something like a 30, 60, 45, whatever, like whichever order, no, 45 seat, you know. But like Honda has got like, so inlet, I think it's 35, 45, 70, no, 67.5, not 70, then like 80, 86, I think that's it, something like that. But that that's like a high-end performance valve job straight out the factory, and then when people go and put 3-angle seat on them, and they're worse than stock, really. So yeah, and then I think on the exhaust they've got a different size, which is something like 30, 45, 67.5, and then 85 or 86 instead of 80, or something like that. But yeah, so anyway, that will be it for today. I think the pilot is the main thing. If I just can't get that off. The pilot is the main thing I need to sort out, because there is quite, so these guides are worn anyway. Let's have a think. They're almost worn a foul at the very top, but let me just grab the camera. So this is a 6mm pilot, and this is a 6mm hull from all the best I can measure it, but it's got a fair bit of play in there. It's honestly, it's so stiff to get. I mean, you can't really see this. It is stiff to get in there. Like when you slide it up and down, I'm obviously dragging both sides like alternately, but let me see if I can open it. That's a fair bit of play. And I don't know how, I mean, they're saying that you should have a pilot that fits the guide within 0.2 of a thou. So that's pretty fucking tight. Like, no wonder you're going to run grease in there. I mean, fucking hell, you're going to get caught up on a guide real quick. So then you might have to touch hone them afterwards. But obviously, until I get the tool, I don't know what I'm doing or where I'm going or why things are doing it. But obviously also I need to get this balanced, which means, fuck knows. So this is the balancing, or part of the balancing system. But then, oh, that's fairly warm actually, surprisingly. Oh, it's warmer down. It's freezing there, it's like warm in the middle. Balancing, what am I going to have to do? Put like a tiny little magnet up here, like to give it a bit more weight, or a magnet up here to bring it forward slightly to get this so it's 100% parallel. And then I still need to sort out this pulse, yeah, a few other bits, but we'll see. We'll get all the parts, and then, you know, I mean, I'm waffling at this point, but I'm just trying to work out in my own head, like,